Welcome to Baldy's Breakdowns, the draft show, talking about the running backs in this draft. And I'm coming right from my war room, right here. You got the whiteboards in the background, TV screens over here, every college game that's been played. I go all the way down to Elon College, Nassau Community College. If there's a prospect out there playing over in Polynesia, I'm finding him. I'm going to discover him. I'm going to watch something on him. I don't need, I've got every single game. I'm at NFL Films, third floor. I got Pete down there in the Dub Center. If I want to go watch the Hula Bowl, East West Shrine game, I can watch them all. So I've got plenty of resources here. We've got draft books and draft Bibles, you name it. We combine results. So we're here after all this work to talk about the top running backs in this draft. And really, there's one elite player at this position in this draft, and he might be the best player in the draft, that's Bijan Robinson. I'll just tell you this. I remember at the Combine when the running backs ran, I was doing a show with the great Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson. And I knew LaDainian loved Bijan Robinson. I just knew it. And, I listen to LT a lot, especially when it comes to running backs, but just listen to him about the game of football because he was such a unique player. But I just remember asking him, I go, LT, what is Bijan going to run in the 40? Because everybody wanted to see, is he a 4.5 guy? Is he 4.4? What was he going to be? And LT said, Baldy, he's going to run a 4.46. And Bijan Robinson ran a 4.46. LT hit it right on right to the 100th of a second. At 5'11", 215 pounds. If you watch him at Texas, he's just, gosh, wait, you just watch him in the Alabama game and just watch him catch the football against Alabama. He looks like a wide receiver. He's been compared to Saquon Barkley. It's fair. It's very fair. The guy averaged over 6 yards a carry at Texas. He scored 23 touchdowns. He had 60 catches the last 2 years. But he's probably not as big as Saquon. Saquon's probably thicker and heavier. He's quadzilla. Nobody has thighs like Saquon. But he is, first of all, he's an incredible kid. He's very gregarious. He's very upbeat. He's got a big smile on his face. He loves the game of football. He's very articulate. He's smart. There's nothing. You bring Bijan Robinson into your team, you just put him in the middle of the team. He's a leader and he's a star. And every 8-year-old kid, in your city is going to want his jersey. He's got that. But then, he's got contact balance. He hits home runs with his speed. He's got great vision. He runs behind his pads. He's got the whole package. He's just an unusual guy to have the size, the frame, the speed, the strength, and then just the acuity, just the mental acuity. So, people are very hesitant to taking running backs high. Zeke Elliott, 4th pick in the draft by Dallas, turned out to be a great pick. He was a great player. Still is. Saquon had an amazing rookie season, had some injury seasons, had an amazing season last year, helping the Giants get to the playoffs. And he's the same guy. Like, he's just an incredible person to be around. And I feel like Bijan, and so is Zeke. I mean, both of them. I love both those guys. They're real football players. They just happen to play running back. But they're great football players. You win games because of your star players. And Bijan's a star. So, to me, you could say Arizona, they need defensive help. There's no doubt. Will Anderson's out there. We'll get the edge rushers. But why wouldn't Arizona be interested? You're bringing Kyler Murray back. Why not put the best running back in the backfield with them? I don't think it's out of line. Could, Indianapolis not going to do it. They got Jonathan Taylor. Could Detroit do it? Absolutely. They got a offense coordinator in Ben Johnson. He's brilliant. They can't keep a running back healthy in Detroit. They got a great offense. You put Bijan behind Penei Sewell and that group up front, my God, they're going to run for a lot of yards. But you could just go through the list. Teams, why wouldn't Chicago be interested? I know they signed some in free agency, but, the Houston Texans, I know they got Damian Pierce, but how about a one? Like, you just go through the list of teams. The New England Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson was a great player this year. He's a hell of a player. Led the team in receptions and running and all that. Average over 5 yards a carry. But you kind of need two guys in this business. Look, when you try to pair up Bijan Robinson and a team that's needy at running back, like you have to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're picking number 10. Miles Sanders is gone. Yeah, they brought in a free agent. They got Boston Scott, and they've got, other players there. But Howie Roseman, like, it doesn't fit Howie's profile to draft a running back or linebacker in the first round. It just doesn't. But sometimes the talent is just so good. And if Howie Roseman would take Bijan at number 10 in this draft, I'm just going to tell you, South Philadelphia is going to throw a parade. Like, forget about waiting for the Super Bowl again. They're just going to throw a parade right now. Like, forget about the Phillies and the Flyers and the Sixers. Like, just going to throw a parade on April 27th if Howie drafts Bijan Robinson. But I have a feeling he's going to drop. I just have a feeling he's going to drop. And so, like, I was on a podcast with Dallas Cowboys last night. And they some really smart guys on that podcast too. Brian brought us. Like, Brian has been doing this business for a long time. And it's his favorite player in the draft. And Dallas sitting there at number 26. I mean, if Bijan dropped past 20, because teams just said, we're not taking running back. The Jets took Breece Hall last year, on his way to Rookie of the Year towards ACL. It's part of the business. If Bijan Robinson drops past 20, drops past Seattle at 20, they're not going to take him. They got a rookie running back last year who was really good. But, I mean, Dallas is going to make a move. Tony Pollard's the only back on the roster right now, and he's coming off a bad injury. I can't see Bijan Robinson in any draft dropping past Dallas at 26. Could you imagine the talent? I mean, the way they draft, when you have, Michael on one side, Bijan on the other. I mean, this CD and the slot. I mean, gosh, the talent would just be crazy in Dallas. They would go nuts. They could probably draft an offensive guard, but that's Bijan. The second best running back in this draft to me is Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. He is a dynamic player. He's big, 6 foot, 214 pounds, ran a 4.53, plenty of speed. He's 18 bench presses, all that kind of stuff. He was 2 years at Michigan, transferred to UCLA to play with Chip Kelly. He had 400 carries for Chip, had 27 touchdowns. The guy's got great contact balance. I mean, he runs through tackles. He is a dynamic player. We'll just watch him in that game, that shootout game against USC. He had a fantastic game. He lost one fumble in 4 years of college football. He protects the ball. He caught 61 passes for over 500 yards at UCLA from Dorian Robinson-Thompson. Like, he's a good player. He's a really good player. I don't think he's a first-round pick, but I think you can get Zach Charbonnet. If you're looking for a running back, you find him in the second round. It seems to be a sweet spot, for running backs. I mean, look at Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry, and look at a lot of guys, Miles Sanders. They're all second-round picks. It seems like that would be the sweet spot for Zach Charbonnet. And then, Detroit, has a bunch of picks. You could see Detroit, doing something like that with one of their second-round picks for sure. There's a lot of teams. If the Los Angeles Chargers can't get things right now with, their pocket dynamo that they have right there, just one of the best players in the league, if they can't get that thing right, maybe Zach Charbonnet is a guy that could go there and help that offense with a new offensive coordinator. So he'll be in demand. There's no question about it, but I feel like second round. Then there's Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. Now, he spent 2 years at Georgia Tech. He's not the biggest guy. He's 5'9", he's 200 pounds. He's got a lot of Jamal Charles in him. If you remember Jamal Charles coming out of Texas, he was there in the backfield, I think, with Ricky Williams. Had a great career in Kansas City. He's got tremendous speed. He ran a 4.36 40, just a blazer. He played at Alabama, averaged over 6 yards a carry this year. 1 year, Alabama had almost 1,000 yards, but he also caught 44 passes. Like, this is a dual threat running back. Now, Could he sneak in to the first round? It's possible because of his home run hitting speed and the fact that he doesn't have a lot of tread off his tire at Georgia Tech and at Alabama. You know, he just hasn't been hit a lot. He also has kickoff return ability. He's got a, kickoff return for a touchdown in college. Like, he's got that ability, and he's young. He's 21 years old. Like, you're getting a young, talented, fast back. Now, 6'1", he's 200 pounds. He's not going to go push the pile. Probably not going to be, he's a guy that sees the holes, and he's just a blazer through the holes. But not a guy that's going to get a lot of extra yards probably after contact. I don't want to, say that he can't do that because he does kind of remind me of a smaller Dalvin Cook. I thought Dalvin was really special coming out of Florida State. He's not as – I don't think he's as big as Dalvin, but he's faster than Dalvin. And Dalvin's been a home run hitter in this business. Aaron Jones isn't a whole lot bigger. He's probably weighs a little bit more, but not a lot bigger. Probably 5'10", 210. So there's some similarities with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a 5th-round pick out of, Texas El Paso. Jahmyr Gibbs is the 3rd best back for me in this draft. And I think he has a possibility of sneaking into the first round. But probably second round, fits him. You look at, my 4th guy is Chris Rodriguez at Kentucky. He's a 5-year player. He's been there a long time. He scored 32 touchdowns. He's a big power back. He's 6 foot in a whisker. He's 220 pounds. He's got NFL size. Go watch him, against Alabama. Go watch him against the best in the country and watch him really flourish. Watch him with Will Levis back there in some really good games. He ran a 4.5 240, plenty of speed, at that size. He catches the ball really well. Although they threw to him enough, but not a great deal. But I think Chris Rodriguez is the guy that looks like a second, maybe a 3rd-round pick, but certainly a second-day selection for Chris Rodriguez. And then I'm going to round this out talking about Dewayne McBride from UAB. He's a Blazer from the Blazers. He's 5'11", 215 pounds. He's thick, and he's sturdy. He ran a 4.52 40 at the combine. He bench pressed 225 20 times. Just go watch his 2021 tape against Georgia with Jordan Davis and, Kenyatta Wyatt and like all these guys that are 1st-round picks. He's running right through them, like contact balance like crazy. He's had 10 of his 11 games this year. He ran for 120 yards or more. Very consistent player. I know people that like him as the 3rd best back in this whole league, in this whole draft. But Dewayne McBride he's going to be a day 2 selection. He's not the 1st-round pick, but he's in that 3rd-round sweet spot where you could get yourself a quality back that could step in and play right away. Like, there's no question. Like, he gets it. He knows how to lower his pads, and he's got some thump to his game, and he's going to break tackles, and he's going to push the pile, and you want him in the rotation in your backfield. Now, I'm leaving a couple guys out, and I want to get to them because there's some dynamic running back business. Like, I'm just going to tell you 3. I'll go through them pretty quickly, but Israel Abanikanda out of Pittsburgh is a freak. Like, he's 5'11", 215. He ran a 4.41 40. He jumped 41 inches in a vertical jump. He's an explosive kid out of Brooklyn, New York. Like, he averaged 6 yards a carry. Like, he was better this year without, Jordan Addison, without Kenny Pickett. Like, it was his show. And he had a breakout season this year. Just breakout. 20 touchdowns. Israel Abanikanda is, I don't know. Like, that's why, Bijan Robinson, as good as he is, teams say, well, I can get Israel Abanikanda in the 2nd round, maybe the 3rd round. And I can get myself a starting running back. The guy is a Pitt Panther. Like, and he's got a lot of good games. A lot of games you just go, wow. We watched him against Tennessee, and I don't know, did he have 3 touchdowns that day against Tennessee? He was fantastic. Now, you want a guy like a smaller guy that just has freak speed, then that's Devon Achane Devon out of Texas A&M, he's 5'9", 185 pounds. You know, he's got to jump around the shower just to get wet. Okay, let's face it. But he ran a 4.3 240. And you see it. You see the speed. You watch it, you know, go, I don't know, that game against Appalachian State that they lost, did he go 70 yards out the back door like he wasn't touched? Like he's got freak speed. He had 60 catches in the last 2 years. He's just not a guy, probably not a starter. I don't say he's not a starter. You know, 5'9", 185, like how much pounding can you take? He's got to be a rotational back someplace, but he can be that guy. And then there's one other guy out of Tulane, Tajay Spears. I saw him at Senior Bowl this year. 5'10", 195 pounds, had a great run with the Green Wave. I mean, ran a 4.43 40. Like, just a freak season. Tulane was a really good team, top 20 team in the country. Ran for almost 1,600 yards and 19 touchdowns. From Ponchatoula, Louisiana. I just had to say that. You know, he's a Louisiana kid. Anybody that knows these kids from small towns in Louisiana, like, football is their life. They play at a high level in high school. The game means a lot to them. He was the Cotton Bowl MVP. All right, he ran for over 200 yards against USC. I mean, just put on his final game. Just watch him run for 4 touchdowns and 200 yards against USC. And a shootout game that they lost. But think about it. Tulane loses 46-45 to USC. Like, what business does USC against Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, you know, what business do they have at, Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas? What business do they have playing with USC? Well, just watch Tajay Spears that day. He was maybe the best player. All right, Caleb Williams was really good too, but, like, he was really good that day. I give him you 8 guys because I can't stop at 5. But Bijan is the class of this group, but there's a lot of depth in this running back field. You think about Isaiah Pacheco last year, a 7th-round pick at Rutgers, right out of Vineland, New Jersey, just south of where I'm at right now, starting running back in a Super Bowl for a Super Bowl winning team. Like, you can find these running backs in every round. I just happen to give you 8.